about Caleb Williams. And I think Caleb's having a really good season, but because the team is 4-8, people are freaking out. And we do this. We get paralyzed on records. It's all about the records, but if you contextualize anything, and I'll do that later with Lincoln Riley, but contextualize 4 wins. Take out the record for a second. If I said to you going into this season for the Chicago Bears, through 12 games with an incompetent franchise, a coach so bad that for the first time ever the Bears fired their head coach during the season, if I said, you know what, through 12 games, Caleb Williams has as many passing touchdowns as Jalen Hurts. He's passing for more yards per game than Justin Herbert and Kyler Murray and has a higher completion percentage than Trevor Lawrence. You'd be kind of impressed, right? In the toughest division in football. If I said he has more passer rating games over 100 than Patrick Mahomes at this point. And oh, by the way, just set a rookie all-time record for the most passes thrown without an interception. It's 212 and counting. How would you look at him then? Oh, by the way, he's on his second play caller. His coach just got fired. The offensive line has gone downhill from a year ago. He set a rookie record, more 100-plus passer rating games than Mahomes, more yards a game than Herbert or Kyler Murray, as many passing touchdowns as Jalen Hurts, with this mess of a franchise hovering around him. Oh, by the way, the last 3 losses, Vikings, Lions, Packers, all going to be playoff teams by a total of 7 points. He didn't give up the Hail Mary. And by the way, he's getting better. His last 9 games, 12 touchdowns, 1 pick. So again, I used to say this all the time. When Ann and I, you know, the kids are young. They're like 5 and 7 and 8 and 9. Kids are kids, right? And if we had, like, you know, a bad day, the kid, something went wrong, I always said, would we have signed up for this? If you would have told me our biggest problem in 2017 is one of our kids got caught doing blank, would you have said that's our biggest problem? Y'all sign up now. Nobody thought this thing was going to be smooth. If you get out of the record, you know the best division in football. They're losing close to Detroit, close to Green Bay, close to Minnesota. And here's another thing I like. I always say this. When somebody leaves, don't just judge Jim Harbaugh's record, what he did at Michigan. What happened to the Niners when he left? They collapsed. In the last couple days, Lincoln Riley's Trojans, 6-6, there's a rumor that other schools are contacting him. USC did a nosedive this year without Caleb. It's not just where you go, it's what happened to the place you left. And through all of it, Caleb Williams, he's got a Dak Prescott quality, a Justin Herbert quality. Even through dysfunction, he'll go to the microphone and he always says the right thing. This is after Shane Waldron. He has a new play caller, Thomas Brown, after Shane Waldron was fired. Ample opportunities to bury people. And once again, he walks up to the podium and says the right thing.
They're not going to reinvent the wheel, in a sense, you know. We're mid-season. You know, it's not a decision for me. I have to do what Coach says. I have to do with whatever decision he makes, and I have to be fine with it. Will I be able to adapt? Yes, I will. We will be able to adapt whatever Coach decision he makes. And then, you know, from there, we have to go out there and execute and win games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. I like a lot of what Colin is saying, which I really, really appreciate. I think he's missing a few points. But yeah, this is what I've been saying. And I actually made a video yesterday that's going to post tomorrow where I pretty much said a lot of this stuff that he just said. You know, it's through First Things First, and it's kind of, they're saying must win for Caleb Williams, and you know, is the game a must win, and Greg, and I won't kind of rehash what that video is going to say, but you know, in essence, they're saying, oh, Caleb Williams needs to play great, they need to win, and this or that. And I'm like, that doesn't really make sense, because this team has been such a disaster, firing coordinators, firing head coach, right? And like, Caleb is getting better, and this is such like an insane season for a rookie quarterback that it's like he deserves nothing but patience and grace, and honestly praise, considering what he's been able to do and overcome with these, really awful circumstances. And the counter to that I keep seeing that is just so frustrating and confused, and people that are coming from such a place of confusion, is Caleb Williams was supposed to be this greatest quarterback ever, this generational talent. He should be able to overcome and be better. And it's like, I don't know what people are expecting, how great someone can be so early on. It's just not possible. And again, he could still be, because people were saying like, okay, there's real conversations of like, can this essentially be the next GOAT, right? Can this guy surpass Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, etc.? And that actually could still be possible, and he could still have a season exactly like this. It's nowhere is it written in the stars that in order to be the next Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, you have to be Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes week 1 rookie year, or that you have to even show it by the end of this season. Like, it's just not the way how development works, and it just has never made sense. And because then the other counter that people say, well, he was going into the best situation any rookie has gone into. And it's like, that's what people thought. And that ended up not being true. And ended up not being true from a coaching standpoint, from a coordinating standpoint, from an offensive line standpoint. Like, there was a lot of issues with it. Now, could have a more experienced veteran quarterback have done better than Caleb in this situation? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because Caleb is indeed a rookie quarterback. So it would make sense. And people are pretty much holding that against him. And it does not make sense. And this really is the problem with expectations, and when people construct such specific narratives. When you say that this team, this quarterback, is going to enter the league, because Nick Wright said that the NFL is going to be easy for Caleb. From right, like, which is obviously an insane thing, which would then make Caleb Williams a legitimate MVP candidate. And so when you're sold that message, you're sold that story, and it doesn't unfold this way, you're trying to figure out reasons, well, why is this not true? And one of the first comments that really kind of hit me this season was, I think it was about the Denver Broncos, and their season was not unfolding exactly how they originally planned, thought it would in the beginning. And a guy, came to the comment section, and he wasn't talking to me directly. He was just talking in general. He's like, I'm really angry. I feel misled. I was sold on a season that's not happening. I was expecting this team to be so much better, to make the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. And you could tell he was genuinely upset. He was upset because, again, people watch shows like this and really take it as pure truth, right? These are the experts on TV, and this isn't anything about Colin or anyone directly, honestly, because you should never take what anyone says on TV like so personally or so, direct. But I get where that guy was coming from. I do. And I referenced this recently. If you ever watch any of the local shows, watch the local Lions, the local Eagles, the local Chiefs, whatever it be, and they're just saying, this is the best team, no one's gonna beat them, they're going to the Super Bowl, and they don't leave any room for anything else to come out. That's what local sports coverage does. Of course, you can find the other hard-hitting stuff, but more often than not, especially these bigger franchises, when they're playing well, it's like, who's gonna stop them? No one's gonna stop them. We got the best quarterback, we got the best O-line, we got the best deep, and it's just and so then if you're watching that and you're not consuming all this other media and you're not watching the other teams play as much and you're just really watching your team, you start to really believe it. You really start to feed into this and think oh my God, no one's going to beat us. We're the best. We're the best. We're the best. I mean, nothing's more jarring when I'm interacting with people in the comment section and they're just repeating what I know Nick Wright said, Colin said, like it's like verbatim, like they're using the same metaphors, the same stories, whatever it may be. And I'm kind of like, oh man, you're just actually truly repeating what you heard someone else say on TV. Like you're not actually forming your own opinion. And it's like, and that's where you then get all this hostility towards Caleb Williams, because it was just, for the most part, many people, there were some people, but many people were not leaving the door open for Caleb Williams, the Chicago Bears, to kind of struggles. Colin did. Colin actually said that this team was not going to make the playoffs, if memory serves me correctly. Like he was actually like, hey, Caleb's going to have like an up and down year. And I said, I think Caleb Williams is going to have an up and down year, but I think they'll make the playoffs. And quite frankly, they should be competing for the playoffs if they didn't give up a Hail Mary and blow a field goal, right? You take away some of those awful decisions, you're like, well, my God, they would actually be competing for a playoff spot. But to be clear, this is still not the way how I thought the season would go. Even if they did get into the playoffs, I would technically be right, but honestly, not for the right reasons. Honestly, I would be more for the way my logic got me there would have still been incorrect, which I have no problem admitting. But I've been defending Caleb from day one with his bad games, and it was funny because I was defending Caleb, when he played the Titans and so forth, and I kept pointing out the positives that I saw in him, and I got hit by so many comments of like, admit he's a bust, he's not good, you're such a clown, you're this, you're that, you're making stuff up. And then he started playing good, and of course those people went away, and then they started losing now, even though he's not playing bad. And now it's still back to this whole kind of like archaic, like he should be able to find a way. He needs to do more. And that is with this obsession with wins and losses falling on quarterbacks. And it is interesting because now Colin's kind of playing both sides, because Colin is a quarterback wins and losses guy. Because he constantly will say, don't tell me that, wins and losses aren't a quarterback stat. He always says that. But now he's saying, well, it wasn't Caleb's fault that there was the Hail Mary. It wasn't Caleb's fault for this. So it's like, you got to be careful when we kind of navigate this terrain and trying to figure out. Again, it's why I really try to evaluate all of these situations really separately before collectively. I try to look at, how did Caleb Williams do individually? How did the head coach do individually? How did the O-line do individually but collectively? How did the running, like I really try to look at everything individually, then put it together and say, okay, where does the blame pie fall in this for both the benefits and the negatives, right? Like it's always trying to get as clear of a picture as you possibly can. And for me, it has been clear that Caleb Williams has actually, with these circumstances, has really done a great job. Honestly. And I think he will continue to get better, will continue to be more comfortable. When you give him a stable situation, I think he will be able to succeed with flying colors. And I've been really impressed the more you think about it. And, Colin kind of rattling off some of those stats and records or whatnot, like that should hopefully also put a lot of this in context as well. And I think even if you just watch him play, you can see what's there. If you're questioning whether or not Caleb Williams is a franchise quarterback or is the quarterback of the future, like then you're just not watching close enough, because he's clearly demonstrated that. Like I said before, even if you want to say, okay, you know what, he's not going to be the next Patrick Mahomes, the next Tom Brady, he's not going to ever be in the GOAT conversation, but it's still very clear that he is a legitimate franchise starting quarterback. And as Troy Aikman said it when he said it on the broadcast on Monday when talking about Bo Nix, he's like, that's all you're looking for a rookie quarterback in their first year. It is a successful year if the takeaway is we got our quarterback. And the Chicago Bears absolutely have their quarterback, and nothing else matters this season, despite what you've heard from other people out there. It's fun to get in the hype. It's fun to talk it up. It's fun to be like, hey, can they get to the Super Bowl? Can they do this? Can they do that? He's going to be better than Patrick Mahomes. That's all fun. And I'm not anti that either. But you just have to understand what it is. It's not the meat and potatoes of the meal. It's not even the dessert of the meal. It's just kind of like looking out the window of like, oh, is that what we can buy maybe? Maybe Like that's all it is. You can't take that stuff as like such concrete truth claims, because then you fall into this mess of like, this was a failure, Caleb's not good, the Bears made the wrong move, and then things just kind of continue to spiral and unravel. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Caleb Williams and Chicago Bears? Do you think the season has actually been a success, and that Caleb Williams has actually been better than most people believe him to have, to be this season so far? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, because it really does help, and then maybe one day I'll get a better computer so my camera stays on. Thank you so much, and see you next time.